We humble pilgrims of the Camino de Santiago are super fortunate. The Camino is one of the cheapest ways to spend a month traveling through Europe as a tourist. You can expect to spend about 30 euros per day on the Camino if you're doing it the budget way that most of us do it. I'm going to make a whole video later about what that breaks down into and how much you can really expect to spend, but in the meantime, I'm going to give you some Camino hacks. Here are 10, count them, a whole 10 ways to save money on the Camino de Santiago. Number 1, most of us already do. Number 1 is to walk the Camino Princess. This is the most popular Camino, and therefore it has the best infrastructure. Many places you can expect to pay between 5 to 10 euros per night on the Camino Princess, whereas on other routes it can run a little bit more expensive. So one of the main ways to save money is to do the most popular route. Number 2, stay in albergues that have kitchens, and or search out albergues that are known to have a communal meal. Saving money on your evening meal is gonna make a huge difference. Pilgrim menus can be useful, but it's a lot cheaper to find a group of people, get a bunch of pasta, make a big salad, and split the cost between the lot of you. Some of the smaller albergues in the smaller towns, this won't be an option because there's no grocery store or anything like that. But whenever possible, it'll save you a good 5 euros per night. Number 3, monitor the cost of flights. If you're heading to the Camino from somewhere far away from Spain, like me, I come from Vancouver, the cost of your flight to Spain is probably gonna be your biggest expense. The cost of your flight is going to equal about the entire cost of being on the Camino for 6 weeks. The trick to cracking this is going to be to figure out what's a good price for your flight. So start looking as early as you possibly can. I know because I've paid for this flight before that around $1,000 is a good price for me. If I see it at $1,200, I'm going to wait for it to go down. If I see it under $1,000 and I know those are the days I want, I'll buy it. It probably won't go very much lower than that. There are great sites like kayak.ca that can send you alerts when the price of your chosen flight has changed. This is where you can save the biggest amount of money. Number 3A, you can save a lot of money on flights by going in the shoulder season. Flights to and from Europe in the summer are gonna run you a good 50% more expensive than in the shoulder season. And shoulder doesn't necessarily mean winter. Going in April or October or something like that is still gonna save you a lot of money because you're not traveling at peak travel times. Number 4, choose your albergues wisely. Typically, municipal albergues are gonna be a lot more expensive than private albergues. Donativo albergues are also a great option. However, this should never, ever mean to you that you don't have to pay to stay there. It's not a free place to stay. Donativo albergues rely on donations every night to feed the pilgrims the next night. This is becoming a really big problem on the Camino that people are abusing this. Never go to a Donativo albergue and pay less than what you would at any other albergue. Obviously, pay extra if they're also offering a Camino meal, but regardless, generally speaking, municipal or Donativo, you can get away with paying less than a private albergue, which can sometimes run a good couple euros more expensive. Number 5, if you have to take a train on your Camino, buy your tickets before you get there. Buying your tickets on the Spanish or French rail sites ahead of time rather than buying them once you get there can save you a good 50%. On my last Camino, I flew into Barcelona and then went to San Sebastian for a week and then went to Saint-Jean, and I bought all those train tickets online before I went, and it cost me about 50 euros, whereas it would have cost me about 100 euros to do it once I got there, and also the selection would be the same. Number 6, Galicia, the last province in Spain that you go through, the one that Santiago is actually in, is the most expensive in terms of albergues that you're staying in on the whole Camino. But what this means is that there's a much smaller price difference between a private room and a dorm room. Especially if 2 of you are walking together, you can usually get a private room for 2 people for the same price as 2 dorm beds. So really look into this when you're in Galicia and take advantage of that. Treat yourself for a night or 2. It will be the good place to do it. Numero 7. Save on ATM fees by taking out the maximum each time you find one. So real talk, you're not going to find an ATM in every single town that you stay in on the Camino. If you've never been before, you walk through some bigger towns, but a lot of the places that you're going to be staying are tiny little towns, maybe population of 50 people, probably less, mostly just pilgrims, maybe a cathedral with storks on it. You're not going to find ATMs everywhere. So when you do, you're going to have to withdraw enough to last you a while, so you might as well take out the maximum. Then you can reduce the amount of fees that your own bank is charging you at home, as well as the fee that the ATM is charging you. Easy. Number 8, this is less of a money saving tip and more of just a handling your cash in Spain tip. The Camino is a cash economy. Do not expect to be able to use your credit cards and debit cards to pay for a night in the albergue or pay for a pilgrim meal. You're gonna need cash, you're gonna need euros, wherever you are. That being said, try and have small bills on hand whenever possible. If you're first at an albergue and they open the doors and you go in to pay for your bed and you only have €100 note left and they don't have change to give you, you're gonna have to stand back and wait for other people to take up those primo spots until they have enough change to break those bills. Number 9 is share. Share all of the things. Sharing a private room with somebody. Sharing a washer or dryer is often a really good way to save a couple euros as well. If you find yourself having to take a taxi, find someone to jump in with you. Super easy. And number 10, believe it or not, in Spain, wine can be cheaper than water, so save money by drinking wine. And if you haven't heard about it, there is a wine fountain that is free, and it's a fountain of wine. So, free wine. There you go. What's better than free wine? And that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know what your favorite tip aside from wine is in the comments down below. If you have your own tips, share with the rest of us down there too. Muchas gracias for watching. Hasta luego.